In this video, we'll be discussing the evolution of LEGO Star Wars sets and comparing the biggest differences between even more old LEGO Star Wars sets and the newer remakes. But before we get into this list, the fourth and final part of this series will be coming soon, so make sure to comment below which sets you want to see me compare in part 4. Also, make sure to check out parts 1 and 2 if you haven't already, the links are in the description. First up are these droid carrier sets from the Phantom Menace, and 3 of them have been released, the first one in 1999, another in 2011, and the most recent version in 2015. What's crazy is that while the sets themselves have improved a lot over the years, LEGO has still not improved the B-1 battle droid design in the 24 years that LEGO Star Wars has been around. The ARC 170 is a really cool ship that doesn't get much screen time, but LEGO has made not one, not two, but yeah, 2 ARC 170s.
Always 2 there are.
And the first one released in 2005, and it was remade in 2010. The 2010 version uses some better building techniques, but part of me still likes the 2005 version better, but that's probably just nostalgia talking. In 2005, LEGO released this General Grievous chase set that came with both General Grievous's wheel bike and Obi-Wan's Boga. Man, this set is so freaking nostalgic for me. The mold for Boga's head and the Grievous minifigure are just so classic. In 2014, LEGO remade this set, but it was just the wheel bike and didn't come with the Boga, and it's also just insane how much more detail the 2014 Grievous minifigure has compared to the 2005 version. Speaking of General Grievous, his first Starfighter released in 2007, and it looked alright, but the only thing that looked kinda off was the cockpit piece. It was remade in 2010, which is my personal favorite version of the ship, and finally, the most recent remake was in 2020, and it looked pretty good, it was just way too overpriced at the time. Countless ATRTs have been made in LEGO form. Well, I guess not countless because I can name all of them, but the first one came out in 2005 in a set called the Clone Scout Walker from the Battle of Kashyyyk, and it came with a pretty sick looking clone trooper. I'm a huge sucker for those old style Phase 2 clone troopers. The next one released in the classic OG Clone Walker Battle Pack. Man, that set takes me back. Next was an ATRT that came as a side build with the Clone Turbo Tank from 2010. Then there was the 501st ATRT from 2013, which was way too oversized in my opinion. After that, there was an ATRT that came in the 2016 Clone Turbo Tank. Then there was the 20th Anniversary Clone Scout Walker, which was a direct remake of the 2005 version. And finally, we have the ATRT that came in the 2020 501st Legion Clone Trooper set. Wow, that was a lot of ATRTs. Honestly, I think a lot of the ATRTs LEGO has made are oversized and way bigger than minifigure scale, except for the Clone Walker Battle Pack and the ones that came in the Clone Turbo Tanks. Now, it seems like LEGO has really been hating making Separatist sets recently. We've hardly gotten any in the past couple of years, but next is this droid tri-fighter, and the design has pretty much stayed the same throughout the years. The first one came out in 2005 as its own separate set, as well as a part of the Ultimate Space Battle set. It was remade in 2010 and looked pretty solid, but it had a slightly different color scheme. And the most recent 2014 version was pretty similar to the 2010 version, except it was more gray than blue, and also came with a Chancellor Palpatine minifigure. The homing spider droid has also been made 3 times. The first one released in 2008 with all the other Clone Wars sets. The body of it definitely looked a little bit blocky, but it did come with Commander Fox, which is now worth around $100. The other 2 remakes are literally identical to each other, except for some slight differences in minifigure selection, and also the 2013 version didn't have any stud launchers, and the 2017 one did. The Mandalorian Starfighters are some of the coolest looking ships in the Clone Wars. The first LEGO version came out in 2012 and was pre-Vizsla Starfighter. This was the only set you could get pre-Vizsla in, which is why he's now worth well over $150. The next Mandalorian Starfighter released in 2021 and was Bo-Katan's Gauntlet Fighter from Season 7 of the Clone Wars. Both of these sets have very different color schemes, but the mechanism to fold the wings into landed mode and also rotate the cockpit are pretty much identical. Pre-Vizsla's is a classic, but the newer one definitely looks a bit more polished. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video like this. The first LEGO Y-Wing actually came in this TIE Fighter and Y-Wing set. The set came out in 1999, but was actually re-released in 2004. Same set, but different box art. A set with just the Y-Wing released in 2007, and it was way better than the previous version with a much sleeker design. And it also used these golf ball looking pieces. In 2009, LEGO released a Y-Wing based off the Clone Wars TV show. I know this one looks different, but it's still a Y-Wing at the end of the day. LEGO remade another original trilogy Y-Wing in 2012, and if I'm being completely honest, I still like the way the 2007 version looks better, especially the shaping around the cockpit. Same goes for the 2017 remake. The cockpit just looks a little bit too blocky, but maybe that's more accurate. The final playscale Y-Wing released in 2019 for the Rise of Skywalker, and it was a Resistance Y-Wing with a red color scheme, which looked really cool, but doesn't change the fact that it was a sequel set. And LEGO also released 2 UCS versions of the Y-Wing, but we'll talk about those later in the video. Now, this is a very exciting set. It's the Droid Escape Pod set. You know, from A New Hope when R2-D2 and C-3PO escape with the Death Star plans? I always hated these sets.
I always hated it.
But wait, 3 of them have been made?
Apparently.
Like, how could LEGO make more Droid Escape Pod sets than TIE Bombers or even TIE Interceptors? Enough of my rant. The first one came out in 2001 and literally had 45 pieces. The 2012 version definitely looked a lot better and even came with a couple stormtroopers. And we got the final remake in 2016, and this set had a shelf life of only 1 year. I wonder why! Regardless, it had a better way to access the interior, printed Death Star plans, and also came with 2 Jawas instead of stormtroopers. A lot of different LEGO sets have been made based on Luke and Vader's duel on the Death Star 2. The first 2 sets released in 2002 and were called Final Duel 1 and Final Duel 2. How creative. One of them came with Luke, a stormtrooper, and an Imperial officer, and the other set came with Vader and Darth Sidious. In 2015, LEGO decided to recreate this scene in LEGO form by releasing the Death Star Final Duel set, which came with just about every play feature you could imagine, from Luke falling off the balcony to exploding stairs to even a reactor shaft that you can throw Palpatine down. The set also folds up so it's easier for storage and transportation. LEGO remade this literal exact set in 2020.
What's the difference?
There were some very minor improvements to this set, but for the most part, it looks identical to the 2015 one. And finally, this year in 2023, LEGO released an Emperor's Throne Room diorama for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. And it looks pretty sick as a display piece and also comes with a brand new hairpiece for Luke. This Endor Speeder Chase set from 1999 was such a classic set. And while other Endor sets have been made since then, this specific set was just remade this year in 2023 for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I really like the designs for the trees and speeders, and it's also really cool how you can put the speeder bikes on these transparent stands so that it looks like they're actually flying. The Desert Skiff is kind of a boring set, but the first one came out in 2000 and was a very simple build. The 2012 version was a huge improvement and came with the addition of a Sarlacc pit as well as a better assortment of minifigures. The last one released in 2017 and had a more accurate dark tan color scheme. It also came with a Sarlacc pit just like the 2012 version. The only thing is that it's missing Luke frickin' Skywalker. The Tantive 4 has been remade a total of 3 times in LEGO if we don't count mini builds or those planet sets. The first one was actually an Ultimate Collector Series version and it came out in 2001, and being a UCS set, it's obviously way bigger than the other 2 playscale sets. First playscale Tantive 4 released in 2009 for the 10th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars, and it looked really good. It had a full interior and even came with printed pieces for the cockpit area. It also came with a Captain Antilles figure that had an alternate face print of when he gets force choked by Darth Vader. Another interesting fact about this set is that some copies of the set came with a smooth hairpiece for Princess Leia.
Cha-cha, real smooth.
It was a pretty rare misprint, but that Leia figure goes for around $300 now on eBay and Bricklink. The Tantive 4 was remade in 2019 and had some major stability improvements and even had a carrying handle, which was
Really nice.
it also looked a lot skinnier than the 2009 version, and the only downside to this version is that the cockpit pieces weren't printed, but we also got Bail Organa for the first time ever in LEGO in this set. The only LEGO set from Star Wars Rebels that has been remade is the Phantom. LEGO made the first Phantom in 2014, and it was simple but looked pretty good. But since the first Phantom was lost in Star Wars Rebels and the crew got a new updated Phantom, LEGO made that one too, which looked really accurate and also came with the one and only Grand Admiral Thrawn figure that now goes for over $100 on eBay and Bricklink. In 2002, LEGO made this really cool buildable Yoda set, and I really like it because you can actually tell that it's LEGO since it's got that blocky look to it. But this Yoda set was supposed to be from the original trilogy since he's got his walking stick and necklace, which, fun fact, it's actually called a blistle and it's a type of musical instrument. LEGO made another buildable Yoda like this in 2019, and this time it was from the prequel trilogy since he's got his green lightsaber. They also used the same sand green color for Yoda's skin color in both sets, and I really like how they shaped Yoda's face on the newer version, but still gave his robes that blocky LEGO texture. I like this set in theory, but those eyes are creepy enough to give me nightmares. Besides the Technic R2-D2, there was a buildable UCS R2-D2 set that released in 2012, and it was remade in 2021, and there were a lot of improvements made, especially with making the head more round and smoothed off by using slopes and curved pieces. LEGO released the first UCS Y-Wing in 2004 and it looked really good, especially for its time. It was remade in 2018 using improved building techniques and better part usage. The only thing I don't like about the 2018 version is that you can see the studs on the white parts in the front of the engines. The 2018 version also incorporated a lot of sand blue into the set, which makes it look a lot more accurate. These videos are always such a blast to make, so I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see even more comparisons of LEGO Star Wars sets, click here to watch the evolution of LEGO Star Wars sets part 2, and as I mentioned earlier, stay tuned for the 4th and final part of this series coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.